Hey everyone, very good afternoon to all of you guys. Welcome to the PYQ session on costing subject. So we'll be discussing about the previous year question papers, question related to your costing in your SEBI Grade A general examination that came in your SEBI general Grade A examination. So let's quickly start the discussion. Good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon Satyat. So guys, this is a live webinar which is going to be there on 29th of October on Wednesday, right at 4 p.m. You can register for this particular session. Here I'll be guiding you end to end about your SEBI Grade A examination 2025. So we'll be sharing a 45-day preparation strategy plus your exam pattern plus what should be your target, what should be your strategy, and a lot of discussion will be there in this particular session. So you can enroll for this. Link is there in the description. Let's quickly start with today's session. The very first question for today's dash is the approach used for improving the equipment maintenance and overall productivity. When we talk about equipment maintenance and overall productivity, what is the approach that we are using here? What is the approach that we are talking about here? Is it lean management, Six Sigma, TPM, cost accounting, or total productive management? It is nothing but TPM, right? TPM, option C, which stands for total productive maintenance. Here we talk about the maintenance of the equipment and the overall productivity. Option C here will be the correct choice. Next is the main objective of dash is the elimination of waste. So we need to identify कि elimination of waste किसका main objective रहता है. Options are total quality management, Six Sigma, option C Kaizen, option D lean system, or option E continuous improvement. The correct choice here is lean system. Why? Because elimination of waste as a whole is a part of lean system. So all the subsets I can say of a lean system have elimination of waste as one of the criteria. Dash refers to the group of technologies that fall under lean system and the just in time. Is it batch processing, flexible manufacturing system, cellular manufacturing, automated assembly and process engineering? The correct choice here will be cellular manufacturing, right? Option C, that refers to the group of technologies that fall in lean and JIT system. So guys, a lot of questions from your I can say lean system is always there in these kind of examination like SEBI General or PFRDA. So lean system is one of the most crucial chapter I can say considering the weightage in the previous year question paper as well. In standard costing, the cost determined before the start of the production. As of now, I haven't started the production. I am yet to start the production. However, I have determined the cost here itself before starting the production. So what kind of cost is it? Actual, estimated, predetermined, variable, or fixed cost? That's called as predetermined cost, right? That's called as predetermined cost. Option C, the cost which I am determining before even starting the production is predetermined cost. If the PV ratio is 30% of sales, let's suppose the sales is 100%, PVR is 30%. So this is from the marginal costing. What about the rest of the 70%? What will be the rest of the 70%? A very easy question, a very simple question. Would love to see your responses, everyone, in the comment section. What is this 70% all about? What is this 70%? This 70% is nothing but variable cost ratio, right? It is variable cost ratio. So let's suppose 100 rupees my sales. If my PV ratio is 30%, then 70%, rest of the 70% is nothing but my variable cost ratio only. So 100 minus PV ratio is my variable cost ratio. 100 minus variable cost ratio is my PV ratio also. You need to remember both the things. In activity-based costing, the costs are distributed on the basis of what? I am following the activity based costing. That means whatever kind of activity is there, I am basing my cost on this activity. So there are cost units, cost drivers, cost centers, cost absorption and cost allocation. What will be the cost driver? What will be the best method here? So that's cost driver. In activity based costing, I always use cost drivers to distribute the cost among different areas. Now this can be another question which can be very important. This is one of the most repeated question in your competitive examinations related to commerce and accountancy and costing specifically. The royalty paid to the state government, I am paying a royalty to the state government on the basis of production is classified as what? Let's suppose I am producing a pen. For production of this particular pen, I need to pay royalty to the state government. Now this royalty is what kind of expenditure? Is it a fixed expense? Is it a variable expense, indirect, direct or capital expense? Now because if I want to manufacture this pen, I need to pay this royalty. So that's a compulsory expense that I need to do, right? It is directly related to the production. That's why it is a direct expense. And this question can be again important for your upcoming examination as well, right? You can have a numerical as well around this. You can have the direct question related to theory as well, just like this in your upcoming examination. One of the most repeated question in costing subject in different examinations. Next one. Here you need to find out the cost of production using the following data. So you need to calculate the cost of production. This is from your unit costing. Methods of costing, unit costing. How to calculate cost of production? So we do have material cost of 600, we do have labor of 150, then we do have setup cost of 200, manufacturing overhead 20% of direct labor cost and selling overhead 10% of my direct labor cost. So what do you think will be my cost of production here? What will be my cost of production here? Any idea, anyone? So guys, this is a live session. Would love to see your participation. Would request everyone to please participate in the comment section. It could have been recorded session as well. Ask your queries in case if you are not able to understand a particular question, let me know. Here we need to calculate the costs of production. So I need to consider the material cost, obviously 600. Then I need to consider my labor cost as well, 150. Setup cost of 200. So this comes to 950 rupees. Now there is a manufacturing overhead as well of 20% of the direct labor cost. What is my direct labor cost? 150. So 20% of 150, which comes to 30. So 950 plus my 30, which is my manufacturing overhead, this comes to 980. That will be my correct choice. 980 is the correct choice. I won't be including my selling overheads. I won't be including my selling overheads. They are not part of my cost of production as of now. Next one. Determine the differential cost. One of the most simple question, I can say one of the most simplest question of your previous year question. Determine the differential cost when the cost activity level is 70%, 30,000 and 85%. It is at 39,000. So it's nothing but differential costing. Differential costing is very straight. You need to just identify the difference between both the costings and that's it. 9,000 will be the correct choice, right? And sometimes we can get some simple kind of questions as well in our examination. तो कभी-कभी simple type के question भी आपके examination में आपको मिलेंगे जो बहुत ही जल्दी हो जाएंगे, है ना? Next one. The canteen expense incurred for factory workers are classified as what? So I'm incurring canteen expenses for my factory workers. Now in my factory, a lot of workers are working, a lot of employees are working. This is my factory. I am doing some kind of canteen expenses as well so that my staff can get the food facility as well. They can get the food facility as well. What kind of expense it will be? It will be a kind of production overhead. Why? Because these are my factory workers who are working in a factory, and in factory we do the production, right? Had it been my administration office, then ये administration overheads हो जाते, but as of now I am doing expenses for the factory workers who are directly involved in the production stuff. So these are my production overheads, right? What is overhead? Indirect expense. Overhead is nothing but indirect expense. Now these kind of questions are also very important for your upcoming examination. An input, this is from the process costing. Methods of costing, process costing. If the input of units are 300, so 300 units is my input. The normal loss is 30%. So I can say that 90 units will be my normal loss, 30% of 300. And 210 units should be my output, should be my output. This is my planned output. However, I can see that the actual output is just 190. I should have produced 210 units out of this process, but I can see that the production, actual production of output is just 190 units. What about the rest of the 20 units? What about the rest of the 20 units? I expected 210, but I can see only 290. That means there is a loss of 20, and this is nothing but abnormal loss. This is abnormal loss. And can you tell me the what kind of treatment we are going to do for this abnormal loss? Anyone? There can be two types of losses. Normal loss, abnormal loss. Normal loss though is very normal in nature, it is inherent, it cannot be avoided. Everyone doing the business needs to include that particular loss in the calculation. If I am operating a petrol pump, definitely the petrol will evaporate, right? That is the natural property of the petrol. That कुछ petrol का क्या हो जाएगा? Normal loss हो जाएगा. So every petrol pump owner will be facing this particular loss, and we will be increasing the cost. Will be increasing the cost per unit in case of a normal loss. However, abnormal loss is because of my negligence, the negligence of my workers. So can I say that I need to charge it in costing P&L? I want to charge it in costing P&L. I won't be increasing the cost of my units. Why? Because my competitors are not going to increase the cost of the units. This is an abnormal loss. This is a me specific loss. Whereas a normal loss is unanimous. Every competitor must be facing that particular loss, and that will be passed on to the customer in terms of increased cost. When the break-even point, so they have given us the break-even sales of 20 lakh rupees, fixed cost of 5 lakh rupee, and you need to calculate the PV ratio. You need to calculate the PV ratio. So can you guys tell me how you will be calculating the PV ratio here? This is a very straight, very simple question. How we need to calculate the PV ratio here? Any idea, guys? How we calculate PV ratio? What is the formula? Contribution upon sales into 100. That's the formula. This is how we calculate the PV ratio. Now, do we have contribution? Directly no, indirectly yes. Do we have the sales? Yes, we do have the break-even sales, 20 lakhs. What will be my contribution? So you need to know that at the break-even point, at the BP point, my fixed cost is equal to contribution only. There is no profit because, right? There is no profit. So my fixed cost is equal to the contribution only. So here, whatever fixed cost is given is nothing but my contribution only, because at the break-even point, I don't have any loss, I don't have any profit. So my profit and loss is zero. If my profit and loss is zero, that means my fixed cost is directly equal to my contribution, right? So 5 lakh divided by 20 lakh rupees multiplied by 100. So this is 25%. This will be my PV ratio, right? This will be my PV ratio. So no doubt it looks simple, but it is a relationship based question. At BEP point, at BEP level, your profit or loss is 0. That's what BEP is all about, right? I have incurred no loss, I have incurred no profit, so no profit, no loss zone it is. When we don't have any profit, when we don't have any loss, so what happens to the contribution? Sorry. This is the flow of my income statement in marginal costing. Sales minus variable cost, this gives me contribution. Contribution minus fixed cost, this gives me profit. When the profit is 0, obviously the contribution and the fixed cost will be equal. So contribution equals to the fixed cost. That's why I have directly taken fixed cost instead of contribution, one of the same thing only, right? One of the same thing only. Next one, if the PV ratio is 30%, my PV ratio is 30%, the fixed cost is 90,000, the selling price per unit is 100, I need to find out the break even point, that too in units. Now how to calculate BEP in units? I want to calculate the BEP in units. First, we can calculate the BEP. How to calculate BEP? Fixed cost divided by PV ratio. This is BEP in sales. So they have directly given me fixed cost 90,000. PV ratio is nothing but 30%. So 90,000 divided by 30%, that gives me 3 lakh rupee, but this is in value, in sales, in rupee. I need to calculate BEP in units. So divided by per unit selling price, which is 100. So this will give me 3000 units. This will give me 3000 units as my break even point, right? Next one. When the desired profit is 20,000 rupees, so I desire a profit of 20,000 rupees, but I also need to cover my fixed cost of 1,50,000. I do have a PV ratio of 50%. You need to determine the required sales value. What should be my sales value? What should be my sales value? So there is a formula to calculate the sales to earn a desired profit, right? These questions are nothing but sales to earn a desired profit category question. Now how to calculate the sales to earn the desired profit? I need to cover a fixed cost of 1,50,000. I also desire a profit of 20,000. This is my expectation. First I need to cover the fixed cost, then I also need to earn a desired profit. How much PV ratio is there in my business? How much is my PV ratio? 50% is my PV ratio. So 1,50,000 plus 20,000 divided by 50%. I need a sales of 3,40,000. If I do a sales of 3,40,000, that means I'll be able to make a desired profit of 20,000. If I do a sales of 3,40,000, I'll be earning a desired profit of 20,000. Don't believe me? Let's have a check. If I have a sales of 3,40,000, what will be my contribution? 50% is my PV ratio, that means my variable cost ratio is also 50%. So my variable cost is 50%, right, of sales, 1,70,000. What will remain? 1,70,000, which is nothing but my PV ratio also, contribution to sales ratio also, right? Now I need to first cover my fixed cost. My fixed cost is 1,50,000. Have a look. You now have a profit of 20,000. So if you want to earn a profit of 20,000, you need to do sales of 3,40,000, right? So we have just cross-checked as well. We have cross-checked the formula as well. Next one. Which costing method is most suitable for bicycle manufacturing business? If you are into the business of manufacturing bicycles, what method of costing will be the most suitable? So it is multiple costing. It is multiple costing. Why? Because in order to manufacture the bicycle, you need to involve several components like frames, like tires, like chains, like seats, like brakes. So first what we need to do is we need to follow multiple costing. We need to arrange these kind of products like frames, tires, chains, seats and all, and then we can assemble it. So that's called as multiple costing. This particular practice is called as multiple costing. Next one is the computation related to standard rate variance. Why not batch? Because the problem is first I need to manufacture the frames, first I need to manufacture the tires, then chains, then seats, then brakes. So I can use batch costing for all these stuffs. Like I can manufacture 1000 tires in a batch, right? So it's nothing but a application of process costing. It's an application of batch costing. So it's a combination of some methods, right? There are a lot of methods of costing. So combo of two or more than two methods is called as nothing but multiple costing, right? Because a cycle needs to pass through multiple processes as well. पहले उसके components बनेंगे, फिर उसकी assembly होगी, right? पहले तो उसकी chassis बनेगी पूरी, फिर उसका टायर बनेगा, फिर उसकी सीट्स बनेंगी, उसको मल्टीपल प्रोसेस से भी गुजरना पड़ेगा, असेंबली से भी गुजरना पड़ेगा. दैट्स व्हाई definitely we are making a bicycle in batches, but we are using multiple methods of costing, not just one. So that's why whenever there is a combination of two or more method, we call it as multiple costing. So it's a trick question, multiple costing. Next one. Here we need to calculate the labor rate variance. So this is from the standard costing chapter. Now, while preparing the standard costing, try to prepare it on a basic to moderate level. Don't go for the higher level stuff. Why? Because usually they are asking questions from the material and labor variances. Definitely we'll be discussing the variable overhead, the fixed overhead and a lot of more variances, a lot of different variances in the paid batch. But I will advise you guys to prepare this particular chapter on a basic to moderate level. Don't go for a very high level. Why? Because it's difficult to remember, plus you can expect 1 to 2 questions from this particular chapter. That too, from that 2 questions, both the questions can be very simple. One can be moderate, one can be simple, one question can be of a higher difficulty level as well. But just for that one question, I won't be advising you guys to making sacrifice on the different important chapters. So definitely do prepare it at a moderate level only. Don't go for a very higher level. Okay, because when you are preparing self, you can get different materials like ICI, like CS ka material, CWA ka material. Don't go for that. Just prepare the simple material variances, labor variances, right? We'll be also doing fixed and variable overhead variances. So here they have asked the variable rate variance. So they have given me the standard rate 2.5. The actual rate is 2.2. I should have paid 2.5. But actually I paid just 2.2 to the labor. Can you tell me this is adverse or favorable for me? Ideally I should pay 2.5, but I just paid 2.2. I just paid 2.2. This will be adverse or favorable for me, guys? Can anyone tell me? Is this an adverse thing or a favorable thing? My outflow should have been 2.5, but I can see that I am able to manage it in 2.2 itself. That's favorable, right? अरे ₹2.5 का खर्चा होना चाहिए था, 2.2 का ही हुआ, तो 0.3 का बच गया ना. This is my saving, right? Kind of a saving only. And how many actual hours they have worked? 500 hours they have actually worked. So I can say that the labor rate variance is nothing but 0.3 into 500. So that comes to option D, 150 favorable, right? This is favorable variance. Why? Because उतना खर्चा नहीं हुआ जितना एक्सपेक्टेशन थी. तो बढ़िया बात है, खर्चा कम होना इज गुड, इनकम का बढ़ना इज गुड, खर्चे का कम होना इज ऑल्सो गुड. Who is accountable when the purchase price of the raw material exceeds the expected rate? Who is accountable when the purchase price of the raw material exceeds the expected rate? Now who is responsible here? Purchase manager. Why? Because purchase manager is having the responsibility to purchase the raw material. So that's why he is directly accountable here if he is exceeding the expected rate. Let's suppose 10 रुपये का कुछ खरीदना था, उसने 11 रुपीज़ पे खरीद लिया, तो किसकी गलती? ऑब्वियसली जो परचेज कर रहा है उसकी गलती है. सो परचेज मैनेजर इज द करेक्ट चॉइस हियर. नेक्स्ट वन, व्हाट इज द टर्म यूज्ड फॉर इंट्रोड्यूसिंग अ न्यू और सिग्निफिकेंटली एनहांस्ड प्रोडक्शन or delivery method that includes major changes in equipment, techniques or softwares? The correct choice here is process innovation. Okay, process innovation. This is again from the lean system. Right, option B. Next question. The success of total productive maintenance is measured using which metric? Using which metric? The success of total productive maintenance. And here the correct choice is option C, overall equipment effectiveness, right? OEE is the concept of TPM only. OEE is the concept of TPM only, right? So these questions were from your 2024 previous year question, and now we'll be discussing about the 2022 previous year questions. Lean manufacturing is a production philosophy that focuses on achieving maximum productivity while minimizing the waste. Which of the following is not a part of the lean system? Which of the following is not a part of the lean system? Option A, push system. Option B, continuous improvement. Option C, zero waiting time. Option D, zero inventory. Or option E, continuous search for reducing the process time. The correct choice, guys, here will be push system. Why? Because lean system is based on pull system and not push system. That is the very first thing. Lean system is based on the pull system and not on push system. Right? Here we are producing the goods in anticipation of the demand, leading to the overproduction or waste, which contradicts the lean principle. In push system, it contradicts with the lean system. Why? Because we are completely following here pull system of costing. Budgetary control involves monitoring the income and expenditure by comparing the actual benefits with the planned benefit, with the planned budget. Right? So what we do here is we compare. In budgeting, what do we compare? The budgets with the actual. To determine the corrective action, let's suppose I have budgeted an expense of 1 lakh rupee, but the actual expense is 1,20,000. So how come this 20,000 exceeded my expectation? That should be my corrective action here, right? That's what we do in budgeting. Which of the following is not a feature of budgetary control? First one, it is not useful for management by exception. Option B, it helps in interdepartmental coordination. Option C, it assists in goal setting. Option D, it establishes a system for comparing the actual and the budgeted performance. Option E, it ensures timely corrective measures when the deviation occur. The very first option is not at all a feature of budgetary control. It is not useful for management by exception. It is not correct. It is useful for management by exception. Obviously, in budgeting, what we are doing is we are doing a variance analysis, right? We are doing budgetary control. What budgetary control is all about? Let's suppose I have planned an expenditure at 1 lakh rupee, but the actual expenditure was 1,10,000 rupee, which is an exception. So definitely it is useful for management by exception as well. Management will be taking care about those things where the exceptions are there. So those things that are doing already well, those processes that are already settled, that's fine. But whenever there is an exception, we are going to deal with that, and that's what the main objective of budgetary control is. So it is useful for the management by exception as well. Next one, total productive maintenance. That's a holistic approach to maintenance that aims for zero defects and zero breakdowns. Which of the following is not a component of the TPM? So here you need to know the concept of TPM in a very detailed manner to answer this particular question. Autonomous maintenance, breakdown maintenance, planned maintenance, quality maintenance, or focused improvement. So for those who already know what the concept of TPM is, we don't consider the breakdowns in this particular element, right? In this particular concept, we never consider the breakdowns. We don't want that machinery to break down, right, at the very first place. So that's more about planned maintenance, quality maintenance, and autonomous maintenance rather than breakdown maintenance. We never focus on eliminating the breakdowns here. We completely focus on eliminating the breakdowns here. We never focus कि पहले breakdown हो उसके बाद हम maintain करें, right? So option B is not a component of the TPM. Next is your approach of Six Sigma, which is DMAIC, is a data-driven cycle used for improving and stabilizing the business processes. Which of the following is not a part of DMAIC? Define, correct, analyze, measure, improve. So we do have two approaches in the Six Sigma. In the DMAIC, there is no correct. There is no correct, right? C stands for control here, not correct. Okay, C stands for control here. So that's define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. That's the correct terminology, not the correct, right? Control. The Kanban is a JIT tool used to manage the production and inventory flow. Which of the following is incorrect about this particular item? It focuses on the customer needs and expectation. It manages the work, not the workers. It encourages leadership at all the levels. It regularly reviews the service networks. It makes processes, policies implicit. The correct choice here will be option E. Why? Because that's incorrect about this particular approach. It makes the process explicit by encouraging the transparency and the clarity. So it never makes the process implicit, right? It makes the process rather explicit, not implicit. Which of the following components, concepts means continuous improvement or change for better? Which of the following concept means continuous improvement or change for the better? That's simple. Kaizen costing, right? In Kaizen costing, we talk about continuous improvement always. 5S provides the foundation for Kaizen by creating a clean, organized, and efficient workplace. Which of the following is not a part of 5S methodology? So we do have 5S as well in the lean system. Now have a look. There are so many questions from the lean system, completely theory, right? Completely theory. So even if you are able to first cover the basics of costing and the lean system, I can say that you are already done close to 40 to 50% coverage of your syllabus, right? Considering the weightage in the previous year question paper as well. So these are the areas which you cannot, keep in your weak zone. These areas should be in your super strong zone, basics of costing and lean system. And they are completely theory. The correct choice here is support. Support is not at all a methodology here in 5S methodology. Right? Now you need to calculate the value of closing stock using simple average method. You need to use simple average method for valuation of the closing stock. You purchased in 2 lots. First was 100 unit, second one was 200 unit. Then you issued, you sold 250. So can I say that you were having 300 in total? You sold 250 out of it. So you just have 50 closing stock, 50 units closing stock you are already having in your business. Now how to value it? How to value it? Average, simple average. It's nothing, even if you know the basic mathematics, what is simple average? 20 plus 22, what is my rate? 20 plus 22 divided by 2, that means 21. Now this is my simple average. अगर weighted average करना होता तो units को weight दे देता, right? 100 units into 20, 200 units into 22 divided by 100 plus 200 unit, वो होता है weighted average. सही है? Here they have clearly mentioned simple average. So 50 is my units, number of units. 21 is my simple average. 21 is my simple average. So the correct choice will be 1050. 1050, 50 multiplied by 21. 21 is nothing but a simple average. You can easily calculate this. 300 total units were there, out of which 250 was issued, right? So I can say the balance units were 50 and 21 is your simple average. Next, you need to calculate the break-even point from the following data. You need to calculate the break-even point from the following data. How to calculate the break-even point from the following data? Basically, what the break-even point is all about, it's nothing but fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. That's the formula to calculate the break-even point. Do I have fixed cost? Yes, I do have fixed cost, 60,000. So 60,000. Now I need to calculate the contribution per unit. They have given me the selling price 30. Let's deduct variable cost one by one. Trade discount, deduct it. We don't need trade discount. 10% of 30, 3 rupee. So 27 is my effective selling price, right? After discount selling price. Then I need to deduct the direct material, direct labor. All these are my variable expenses only. So 12 rupee, 6 rupee. One by one, let's try to deduct it. 12 rupee, 6 rupee. Then I do have variable overhead of 50% of direct labor cost. So again, this is also a variable cost, right? Let me just make it clear. In marginal costing, we write sales. So we do have a selling price of 30 rupee. Now we need to first consider the discount of 10%. So my effective selling price becomes 27 only. Now I need to deduct my variable cost. So I'm having so many variable costs like direct material, 12 rupee, direct labor, 6 rupee, variable overheads, 50% of direct labor. What is my direct labor? 6 rupee. So 50% of 6 means 3 rupee. That's my variable overhead. These are my variable costs that I need to deduct, right? These are my variable costs that I need to deduct. So 25 minus 12 minus 6 minus 3. 6 is my contribution. 6 is my contribution here, right? So what is the formula to calculate the break-even point? Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost is 60,000 rupee given in the question. Contribution per unit is 6 rupees. So 60,000 divided by 6, this gives me 10,000 units. So if I am able to sell 10,000 units, I'll be at a break-even point. That means no profit, no loss point, right? Next one, which is not a feature of cellular manufacturing, which is not a feature of cellular manufacturing. Reduction in overproduction, reduce overproduction, increase in expense, this is not at all a feature, right? This is not at all a feature. Expenses never get increased because of the cellular manufacturing. ये तो बिल्कुल सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी क्वेश्चन हो गया, प्रोवाइडेड दैट आपने लीन सिस्टम पढ़ रखा है बहुत अच्छे से. अगर आपका लीन सिस्टम बहुत अच्छे से हो चुका है सो फिर ये आपके लिए बहुत हाईली स्कोरिंग सब्जेक्ट बन जाएगा कॉस्टिंग, रादर देन लोग इससे डरते हैं. जबकि आई कैन से कि अगर आपने बेसिक्स ऑफ कॉस्टिंग और लीन सिस्टम भी अगर बहुत अच्छे से कर लेते हो इनिशियल स्टेजेस में, तो भी आपका अराउंड 40% कवरेज हो जाएगा, राइट? फिर रेस्ट ऑफ द 60% भी आप स्लोली कवर कर सकते हो. बट फॉर दोज जिन्होंने एक बार कहीं ना कहीं किसी न किसी एग्जाम में पढ़ रखा है, मैं हमेशा एडवाइस करूंगा सबसे पहले लीन सिस्टम पढ़ लो, एक मेजर पोर्शन खत्म हो जाता है. जो नए हैं, जिनको नहीं बेस बना हुआ है, जिनका कॉमर्स का, फाइनेंस का, कॉस्टिंग का, डेफिनेटली उनको सीक्वेंस में पढ़ना चाहिए. विच इज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द नोशनल प्राइस मेथड. नोशनल प्राइस मेथड, फीफो. भाई फीफो में तो बिल्कुल एग्जैक्ट प्राइस लेते हैं हम, जिस पे आपने खरीदा होता है, फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट, राइट? जो पहले आया है वो पहले जाएगा. सिंपल एवरेज, यहां पे भी हमने एग्जैक्ट प्राइस ही लेते हैं हमेशा. स्टैंडर्ड प्राइस मेथड, और क्या ऑप्शन में? लीफो, यहां पे भी एग्जैक्ट प्राइस लेते हैं. वेटेड एवरेज, यहां पे भी एग्जैक्ट प्राइस लेते हैं. स्टैंडर्ड प्राइस मेथड इज वन ऑफ द मेथड where I take notional prices based on the standard prices rather than the actual prices, right? So this will be the correct choice here, option C. Here I take notional prices, right? Expected prices basically. Which statement is incorrect about the marginal costing? Option A, it is a method of costing like job or batch costing. Guys, is it a method of costing? Even if you haven't studied marginal costing, at least you know your syllabus, right? At least you guys know your syllabus. Can you tell me, is marginal costing a chapter in methods of costing in your syllabus? Is it there in your syllabus with the heading 2, methods of costing, unit costing, job costing, batch costing, or is it a part of some other chapter? It's a part of some other chapter. Which chapter? Cost control and analysis. Basically, this is not at all a method of costing. Marginal costing is not a method of costing. Rather, it's an analysis tool, right? That's why it's there in your cost control and analysis. So marginal costing के लिए पहला ही statement गलत हो गया. It's a method of costing. No, it's not a method of costing. It's an analytical tool. Contribution is equal to sales minus variable cost होना चाहिए था वैसे तो, ठीक है. उसके बाद it helps in control variable cost by avoiding the arbitrary apportionment of fixed cost. That's also correct. It is useful tool for profit planning definitely, and it's valuable for decision making. अच्छा, मार्जिनल कॉस्टिंग को ही हम डिसीजन मेकिंग कॉस्टिंग भी बोलते हैं. सो ये भी करेक्ट है. सो ऑप्शन ए आपका यहाँ पे इनकरेक्ट चॉइस हो जाएगी. हमको इनकरेक्ट ही आइडेंटिफाई करनी थी क्वेश्चन में. नेक्स्ट वन, अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. You need to calculate prime cost. Now this is a numerical question from your single output or unit costing, right? And most of the times questions are coming from your single output and unit costing only. So you can expect 1 or 2 questions from this particular area. You just need to calculate prime cost. What is prime cost? It's nothing but total of direct material, direct labor and other direct cost, other direct expenses. So here we are having the direct material, direct labor, fixed factory overhead. I don't care about fixed factory overhead. Variable factory overhead, no, I don't want to take variable factory overhead. These are the indirect expenses, whereas prime cost is nothing but direct material, direct labor and direct expenses. So as of now we do have only 2 categories here, direct material and direct labor. So 16,80,000 will be the correct choice. 1680, right? Direct material, direct labor and direct expenses, this sum up to become prime cost. Next one, which is not a method of splitting semi-variable cost. Now this is deep within the concept of semi-variable cost. This is a deep question डेफिनेटली मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स ये आंसर नहीं कर पाए होंगे. Now there are multiple methods of apportioning the semi-variable cost. So you need to know what are the methods. Least square method is a method, graphical method is also a method, high-low method is also a method, level of activity method is also a method for segregating the semi-variable cost. However, option E, straight piece method, is no such kind of method, right? So option E is not a method of splitting semi-variable cost here. Next one. Here you need to calculate the unit cost under the absorption costing. Do remember, in absorption costing we consider fixed as well as the variable cost both as the product cost. Whereas in marginal costing we consider only variable cost as the product cost. Rest, the fixed cost we always consider as a period cost, right? We always consider it as a period cost. So this is a homework question for you guys. Later on let me know in the comment section and I'll be posting the correct choice in the comment section itself, right? Thank you so much for watching this particular lecture, and for those who are seeking for paid courses, we do have crash courses for SEBI. We do have the Learn Pack for those who just need notes and mock test and current affair. We also have a complete course, right, for your SEBI Grade A examination. Thank you so much. See you soon in some other session. Bye bye. Take care. If you need guidance, then you can definitely check out the course highlight. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.